to start with is one of the first things that you've been working on is strong starts in class. And I, on Wednesday last week, noticed that students are doing a better job of coming into class and getting started right away.
I feel like that's gotten better.
Great. So what are some of the key moves that you've made that have led to a stronger start in the classroom?
I always stop the line. It may not be right at 3,
Okay.
but I always stop the line and make sure they can see me. And that's looking around that dumb hole.
Mhm.
So, and also calling out.
Mhm. Correcting the calling out.
Yeah, mostly merits or positive. And then once, if that doesn't work, I may say, so I need you to see.
Okay, great. Well, I think it's definitely getting stronger, and I would continue to push you on, like, continuing to issue those merits during that time, because I think it's working. And I'm glad it feels better.
Yeah.
So today we're going to dive into strengthening your individual student corrections and scanning your hotspots. First, I'm going to model, and then and while I'm modeling, I want you to answer the question, how does effectively issuing the correction hold students accountable? Okay, so this would be like, class has already started, you're about to go into, could be after the do now, you're about to go into like direct instruction. I want to focus on the individual student correction, okay? Turn this. So, scholars, you're working silently and independently for 5 minutes on your independent practice. Go ahead and begin. William, that's 1, off task. That's 1, side conversation. What's effective about naming the specific correction?
Well, first of all, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yes.
I'll be honest, based on experience, that doesn't necessarily mean they don't still argue with it.
Okay, and we'll talk about that. But I want to talk about why we're naming it. So let's go back to that. So
Okay.
it tells them what they're doing.
Exactly what they're doing, so that they can, it basically gives them something to go on,
Yeah.
and know what to correct.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And then how does it, like, what does it also communicate to other students?
Oh, what they should be doing, or not doing, as the case may be.
Okay. And what does scanning do?
Everybody can see your checking.
Yeah. For sure. So I want to focus on, there's 2 parts of this video that I want to look at from Wednesday. And I want you to think about specifically naming the individual student correction and scanning. Like, the volume was really funky, so.
So you do well on an essay. Most people now are much. Disruption, budget disruption,
That was 1 part, and then we're going to go about 15 minutes in.
Pulled from the text. It needs to be copied down exactly the way it is in the text. Capitalized the same, spelled the same, no words missing.
Can you hear me?
Okay? Now, what's the last step in the body paragraph?
Okay, so what correction did you issue at about 7 minutes? When at the first one?
Oh, the first one was, I think it was disruption.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, and then the second one, what was the behavior that was being corrected?
out of seat.
Out of seat. Okay. What should the correction sound like for both of those?
Well, based on your model, Will, that's a disruption, 1 for disruption, Kristen A, that's 1 for out of seat.
Okay. So I would even push it further because disruption is not a demerit. I would say
I'm sorry.
noise level.
Oh, okay.
Yep, either noise level or
Oh,
off task.
Intentional disruption of learning, that's
Deliberate
-4.
derailment of learning.
That's -4.
Yeah. So saying will, that's 1 noise level versus disruption. 'Cause
Okay.
what's the difference between will, that's 1 noise level, or will disruption?
Well, since it's not technically one, he can argue that, first of
Yeah.
all. And secondly, I guess it would be, well, he does it anyway. How is that a disruption?
Great, so when you say disruption, it gives him space to respond. And then what about like, that's one, is also the other piece.
So they know exactly that I am giving them a demerit.
And how much it's for, right? Okay. So what would be the implication of using the corrections that you just identified?
As I did it, confusing,
Okay, versus the way
very specific and clear, and they know the
specific and clear.
context.
So what is the gap between what we saw and what I just modeled, which is gonna stand
That I need to be more specific and clear about what they did and what the consequence is.
Great. So I do have a cheat sheet for you. These are like the most common things you're gonna see when you're scanning. So what will be the impact of having this in mind while you're scanning?
Ready with exactly what to say.
And I think part of it is just the language, because like I've heard you say disruption before, and so I
Okay.
think like if you say like if you keep saying this, it just becomes like, and that's the same way. Like I say the same things all the time in my class. So keeping this in mind will help you with the language.
Okay.
Anything else?
I did have a question about side conversation.
Yeah.
The, can't remember when it was at a PD, I think, or
Oh,
maybe a
okay.
morning meeting,
I
where
know.
if there's side conversation, make sure there are two demerits in, one for each. And I kind of do have a question about that. Sometimes it actually is one person that's
Leading.
trying to get someone to talk with them, and I see it before the second person responds.
So if you see it
What would I
before the
put that in?
second, I put it off task because
Okay.
they're trying to get someone else off task.
Okay,
If they're actually like if they're leaning over, that's off task to me. But if they've started talking, that's noise level.
okay, all right. So either one,
Yeah,
just one, not both.
not one. Yeah, not
Okay.
both. Like if like so like Lawan is a good example of this. He turns around and starts like that's one off task.
Okay,
Get back to like to what you're doing. But if he's like already on the
Okay.
and Jarvis hasn't responded, that's one noise level.
okay,
We're at level 0.
okay.
Great question. Anything else?
I think it's,
Okay, so we're gonna. All right, so based off that, what do you think your action step should be?
I think it's primarily being conscious of how I'm saying it, that when I'm scanning and correcting is very clear.
Yeah, when you're scanning and correcting, it's very clear to students what the correction is. And so we're gonna talk about the how. So identifying the hot spots that you need to scan most frequently. So we're gonna talk about this hour today.
Okay.
Scanning using the dance moves, and using eye contact and proximity. I think especially with like front. And then issuing the demerits to address off-task behavior and naming the specific demerit. So how we're gonna do this is before I have you take it live in practice, I'm gonna have you take out your packet for today.
Okay, so this is my lesson plan. It's a little bit different today because
Okay.
they did their performance task on Friday handwritten.
Okay.
And today they get to type it in, today and tomorrow.
Is this what you put on the board?
This is what I project,
Okay.
and I do a very short agenda that's more like this, but I don't even put in these details.
Okay, so let's use this
Okay.
to talk about where you're gonna scan specifically.
Okay.
What, and like what hotspots you're gonna be looking for.
Okay,
So you
all
can
right.
go ahead and take a minute to do that in your lesson for today.
I think it's primarily, anytime there's a transition. So between any of these,
So let's mark it.
there's definitely gonna be,
You like just put a star and it's gonna be hotspot or something. Or that's working too.
and then as they get started
Okay.
here. And not just scan, but,
Okay. Let's talk about who the hotspots are gonna be
Okay.
while we're scanning, so we can just like make a list over here.
okay, Well, always to and Lonnie is mostly, and he's really off today too.
Okay.
Apparently somebody stopped him in the office and said, we don't have your shot records, 6 days the last day until we get them.
Okay.
And he was really upset by that. So
Okay.
he had his head down.
We have a medical release form, so we can talk about this
Okay.
at the end, but.
Anyway, Mr. Small came and got him because
Okay.
he was at 15 minutes in class, he was so.
Okay, I'll talk to Mr. D, but we could probably
Okay.
get that.
Okay, and so, but he's always one who it's not necessarily a disruption, it's, there you go again. A noise level off to have side conversation, sometimes it is, or calling out, but it can often be just literally
Soft task,
so,
soft task.
yeah. Let's see, Jarvis. Jarrell. And occasionally Jocelyn. I'm running out of room.
Okay, and I also want to go back to the question that you asked earlier
Uh-huh.
about, specifically you said sometimes they'll argue back or in experience they'll argue back.
My response is always that's an inappropriate reaction.
Yes, so say inappropriate reaction -2, and then what I would encourage you to do is if a student continues to argue back and the student will, that's when you would I would say I would get down and ask you next later or we'll have a conversation about this later, but we're not having a conversation right now. Get lower to his level, have that small quick correction with him, and then continue, and then from there he's just going to have his referral worthy, but I think when you say -2 inappropriate reaction, it should stop it 9 out of 10 times. Okay,
It does with certain students, like it worked with Tamon today.
great.
But, it's that, I mean, Will continue, Siobhan will continue, and I prefer.
Yeah, and I think that's the appropriate, but if there's a moment where you can have a conversation with these guys, we can talk about this in class or our time at lunch. And if you do that quickly, a lot of times students just want to feel heard.
Yeah.
So, especially Will likes to feel heard. Okay, so now that we've identified where you're gonna scan, we're just gonna practice scanning with hotspots while you teach. So I want you to go into directions, using what you're gonna use today, and then scanning for those hotspots specifically using the business moves.
Okay.
Okay, we're not gonna issue any demerits yet, we're gonna do that next. I wanna see you scanning, using the dance moves after you've given directions.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, scholars, eyes on me, I want pencils down. In 3, 2. I have back row, middle row, and 1. Waiting for 2. Thank you. All right, we are going to type our essays today. You may need to finish, you may need to revise, but you have today and tomorrow. Your computers are on your desk. The assignment is on Google Classroom. When you open up the Google Classroom, click on the assignment, create a document, and begin typing your essay. I'll be handing back what you wrote Friday, and you can get started as soon as you have it, and you have your document with it. Let's get started. Put your document up. Computer's open. Okay, Tania has her computer all open and ready. Open up the document, whole front row is ready. Melanie, would you get started, please?
Okay, and scene. It was effective when you were giving your first set of directions. You counted down, you positively narrated, I have the front row, I have the back row. It was clear that you were looking, you were naming what you were seeing. Next time, try what I'm going to encourage you to do is after you give your directions to go into the typing, plot yourself down and use the dance moves very dramatically. I get on my tippy toes a lot because I mean, they know, I mean, doesn't actually, can't see anymore when I'm on my tippy toes, but I'm small and shorter, so they think I can see more when I go like this. Like, just be a little bit more dramatic about them instead of kind of just like walking, like be very intentional about like where you're looking when you're scanning for those hot spots. So specifically, who's a kiddo, like, who might be in the back on this list?
Oh, on the back, Jocelyn's at the back, Geron's at the back.
Okay, so like if I were looking for Jocelyn, like in the back row, like she sits over here for me, like I'm going like this.
Okay.
I'm on my toes, showing her that like I'm following you, I'm looking for you.
Okay.
So we're gonna try it again where you're just scanning the hotspot. You don't, you can just say like, and go, and I wanna see you scan.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I want computers open. I'm logging on to Google Classroom. Go. John? Thank you. Show me one.
Okay, what's the implication of like the little bit more like dramatized?
I think for me, because I'm not a big physical person,
Mhm.
but they notice.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Just the movement, doesn't matter what I'm doing, they
Yeah.
would notice the movement.
Yep. Yeah, and you did a better job of being more dramatic. That's like the first thing you did was you like even with your neck leaning over like that is showing like I'm looking. Okay, so now I want you to practice scanning, issuing a correction for side conversation, and off task, and calling out. And I want to hear the individual student corrections.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do this during they're actually typing.
Yeah, we're typing now.
So I'm gonna be moving as well as visually.
Okay,
Is
that's
that
fine.
okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Deshaun, that's one for Odyssey. Sit down. Just, hang on, side conversation. Will, turn around, off task. That's one. Mikhail, noise level. That's one.
So it is so much more effective to hear you say, "Will, that's one off task," versus "Will, disruption."
Okay.
Next time, what I want you to try this time is, and I know that's probably what's going to happen while they're typing, I want to see you scan and issue demerits before you roam.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So you can start with the go and then scan and issue corrections.
All right, computers open. Log on to Google Classroom. Go. Terrell, it's one off task. Will, turn around. Noise off. All back row is ready. Sean, noise off.
Okay, I'm going to pause you there. What's going to be my feedback for
Um,
Deshaun and Will?
It was 3 steps instead of 2. With where it
What
was,
did you say to Will?
turn around, off task, -1.
So you
So-
you left out the -1 piece.
Oh, I did leave off the -1.
And what
All right.
did you say to Deshaun?
Deshaun was, maybe that was the 3 steps, because I said, turn around, off task, -1.
Yeah, so just say, Will, that's, Will -1 on task.
Okay.
Deshaun -1 noise level.
Okay.
Try one more time here. You've got it. Do the
Okay.
scan and then the corrections.
Computers open, go. Terrell, off task, -1. Sean, noise level, -1. Will, Odyssey, -1. Jocelyn, Pega, side conversation, -1.
All right, and scene.
I've never been in a movie in my
I
life.
know. Okay, so So, the follow-up here is that I'm gonna come in Wednesday during 5th hour, and I wanna see you scanning them for hotspots specifically, so knowing the
Yeah,
kiddos.
Wednesday's the star testing.
Okay, great. Let me look at my
Tomorrow I'll be doing typing still. It'll be virtually the same thing, because they have both days to do it, because there are kids who aren't finished yet.
tomorrow I can't, unfortunately.
And then I don't.
What about Friday?
I can do it Friday.
I can?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
We're gonna be doing some kind of review and prep for next week, IA.
okay, I might come in at the start of 5th hour on Friday. So, anyway, I'll figure that out, I just need to make sure that I can. What I'm looking for though is I wanna see you scanning for hotspots, using those dance moves, and I want you to be dramatic about them. I think that was one of the things that I felt silliest about. It was like, dance moves were not a thing. I like came from a charter school that was very similar, but we didn't use dance moves, so it was something that I felt silly about, and I hear your point about like not being a physical person, but what you said, what that really matters is the kids notice. And it becomes way more natural the more you do it. Like I'm always on my tippy toes. So the kids notice, just find what makes the most sense for you and what feels most natural. And then name the individual student correction. That's one off task. So those are the 3 things I'm looking for. Scanning for hotspots, dance moves, and naming the individual student correction. Okay. Questions? Well, I'm gonna put in your action